Hey guys, welcome to the Collider Games podcast. This is episode 6, and we are in a small room at Comic-Con.
Small room, but for us, it's not too. It's two guys right now. Dorian's out getting food somewhere, or just doing all sorts of drugs.
Yeah,
Could be one or the other. But yeah, we're in a small little room, Comic-Con, first night. The time we're recording this, it's a Wednesday. By the time you're listening to this, it's a Thursday.
It's a weekend.
It's a weekend.
You know, it could be. You could be listening to this anytime, but the
Yeah.
point is that you're here with us and
Damn
you're
right.
enjoying our voices. I'm Joy Rasul. That is
Hi.
Christian Ruvalcaba.
Yes, that's my name. That's my real name. But a lot of people call me Cobster because, whatever.
Where did Copster start?
I've explained this story multiple times, Joey.
I'm
just
sorry. You
don't
know
wanna
what?
say
The
it.
Collider Games audience is new to
all
this
right,
story.
Fair enough. Short story. I played baseball in high school, and everyone called each other by our last names. Everyone was just, hey, Razul. That's just kind of how it went. Nobody wanted to say Ruvalcaba every single time, so my coach just called me Cobster one day because Ruvalcaba, so Cobby, Cobster, Cobblestone.
He just butchered it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, no, he was actually a Spanish descent as well, but
Okay.
Latino descent, I should say. And he just figured nicknames.
you go.
Everyone always had a nickname or something if it wasn't a last name.
Well, I was wondering because if usually names like that either end up being or come from, like a gamer tag or a game handle or
Yeah.
like an early like AIM handle or something like that.
Yeah. My original AIM name was Numbskull 15.
Numbskull 15.
Yeah.
I had Sonic Monkey for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was a big Sonic the Hedgehog fan, and
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
my brother had Knuckles something. I can't remember
Knuckle
what
Puck.
Knuckle Puck.
Yeah. Yeah. So the nickname just kind of stuck. And then when I joined the Schmoes, like everybody had a nickname already. So fortunately, they didn't have to create one for me. I just kind of was it.
Right. There you go.
So there you go. Well, that about does it for us on this episode of the Collider Games. Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've got a lot of stuff. Normally, post E3, we were, inundated with games stuff and
Yeah.
games news and things like that. But there is stuff going on down here at Comic-Con as well.
There is.
Like outside our hotel is a big, huge Shadow of the Tomb Raider banner on one window, and I think outside this window is a huge Kingdom Hearts one as well.
Yeah. A lot of hearts going around.
Yeah, so Square Enix owns this hotel now, apparently.
Hey, man.
They're
taking over the world.
You put your name on it, and that's what it takes.
Yeah.
Now you own it.
I wish I owned stuff. I got to stop renting.
So are you going to own any of those games? Are they on your list?
I might dabble into Tomb Raider. I never gave it a shot. And because I'm sexist. No, not at all. I never really got around to playing them. And I like the Uncharted series, and everyone tells me, hey, if you like Uncharted, you'll like Tomb Raider.
Well, I mean, yes and no, because the new Tomb Raider games are like taking the Uncharted story seriously, and that
okay.
Ultimately, that would kind of ruin the Uncharted franchise if you took it too seriously. But
It needs to be a little sense of humor.
But it doesn't ruin Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
It is a new direction for Tomb Raider, or it has been for the last 2 games, and then this will be the third where she's finally a fully realized Tomb Raider. But at the same time, she's not, because she is not at all the Lara that we knew from the 90s and the 2000s.
So with the previous 2 games, this is essentially like a prequel series trilogy. In a way?
Yeah. It's
still
it's Batman Begins.
Okay.
So it's a prequel, but it's the dark, gritty reboot, and it is.
They're good though.
They're good. They're definitely good.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Dorian. We can't hear you
Dorian.
because you don't have a microphone.
You jerk. We told you we were about.
We
to
let
Dorian.
you know, and then you left. You literally left the room.
All right.
All right. See, you heard it here, folks.
Did you get food?
You heard it here first.
He didn't even
folks.
get food. Oh, he's going to a party. Well, we have to sit here and wait to work.
Yeah, no, honestly, Dorian has just proved to all of you that food and parties are more important than the Collider Games
Game fun,
audience.
yeah. See you, Dorian.
Have a good one. Have fun at your party.
Your Comic-Con party.
Honestly, this bit's going on too long. Have fun at your party.
Just get out of here. Get out of here. God, he is the worst. Like you think someone's mean, and you meet that guy.
He's still in the room.
Oh, good. Oh no, he's gone.
Oh,
all right. So, anyways, so the Lara Croft games.
Lara Croft.
Croft. Oh no! Oops.
Lara Croft mac and cheese.
Yep. I want to see the Lara Croft game where she's just making arts and crafts for a level. So those Tomb Raider games. How about that?
Yeah, there you go.
But they're good though. The original too. I mean, not the prequel too.
They've got more narrative. They've got more more death animations. They've got more. She's more of a real person in these than the previous version of Lara Croft.
Okay.
Or Lara.
Croft.
Lara Croft. Lara Croft.
Lara Croft. Yeah. I might pick them up. When does the new one come out?
The new one comes out September 12th. And the original, the first one of the reboot, which I think was a 2012 game, I just picked it up on PS4 on PSN for like $5.
Ooh, okay.
So it's totally worth it.
You think I'll have enough time
edition
to finish the 2 before the third one?
For September, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I'm not busy going back and forth on the games that I'm playing right now, then I'll squeeze them in.
Yeah. Because you got Resident Evil that you're burning through and things
Halo.
like that. And Halo.
Oh man, I've hit a roadblock in that.
Is it roundabout the flood?
So no. Okay. Well, here's the thing. If we want to get into this really, really quickly, so I as I stated on the show before, I'm playing Resident Evil as well as Halo, and I think I'm like going back and forth. I beat 0 already for Resident Evil, and then I'm doing. I beat Halo finally. This is the anniversary version.
Yeah.
And then I started playing Halo 2.
Mm-hmm.
The remastered version, the anniversary for that one as well. And my girlfriend comes home one day, and she's like, "Oh, you playing Halo 2?" I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, I love it. Can I play 2?" I'm like, "All right, yeah, sure. Let me go get another controller." I didn't have 2 controllers, so I bought a controller. And now she wants to play campaign with me. So I was like, all right, fine. That's something for us to do. And it gives me an excuse to play the game.
That's cool. But then all of a sudden you have to wait.
Yeah, so I stopped right after. I started Halo 2 and right when we got to Earth, on the Earth mission that I'm like just going to be holding up for her to play on. But what I will say about the Halo remastered version, because I didn't really notice it the first time I played that around. Because obviously I played the original Halo when it came out, and it's very nostalgic. But if you look at those graphics, they're very plain and basic. The thing I do like about the remake is that you can switch back and forth just to see.
I was going to ask about that. Like, do you actually use that?
I do, because it's very interesting to see how the feel and tone of the game is completely different. It is I would almost go as far as saying the remastered version kind of ruins Halo a little bit.
Really?
There are certain aspects of it that make it wonderful because the graphics look incredible, the visuals, the vistas, like everything about it is wonderful, and it's incredibly creative. The colors are a lot more vibrant, and it just looks cleaner. The sound design is incredible. Like the sound of the machine of your main machine gun is like it just pounds that bass, pounds it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so like all that is great. When you get to the flood, it is not nearly as scary as because everything is brighter. Everything is way bright. Like I didn't use my flashlight for anything.
I would have thought it would be the other way around.
Oh,
I would have thought it would be brighter in the original.
No. Like it's funny because when you do this, because what I would do is when I would play it, I would switch back and forth, just be like, okay, for nostalgia's sake, here's what it used to look like, and then like do like a before and after. And it's fun doing that. I did that every single level, like everywhere I went, I kept switching back and forth. And then when you get to not to the library, when you get to 343 Guilty Spark, the level where the flood are first introduced, the cutscenes look great in like the new graphics, but when you're actually running from the flood, it's so distracting because everything is lit. Not Dorian's lit. Not Dorian's lit. It's actually it is brighter. And when you switched back to the original graphics, while everything might be super plain, there's no detail on the walls or on your gun or anything, or even in the landscape of the forest outside. It is still incredibly dark, and it makes that entire level super fucking scary.
Yeah.
That's what the one thing I took away from that game. I was like, whoa, what is this? It just turned horror in a split second, and there was a lot of tension, and because there was so many, they literally flood the screen. It fills you up with anxiety because you don't know what to do because they're surrounding you. But because when you switch it over to the remastered, it all that is gone. All of it is gone.
Interesting. Let me ask you this: when you start a game and it has like the gamma settings of like the logo should be barely visible kind of thing, do you listen to that and do what it says about the gamma settings, or do you crank it all the way up so you can see everything?
No, I kind of just like it depends on the game, but for the most part, I will kind of keep it as is. Like I think some Resident Evil games will like. Do you want to increase the brightness or you want to keep it dark, like the mood of the entire thing? Do you want to keep it scary or anything like that? But I for the most part, just kind of keep it as is. Maybe if I did change it, then maybe I wouldn't have had that problem. But I'm interested to hear if anybody else had that issue.
And keeping it as is something I've never thought of either, because it is designed because everyone's TVs are different.
Right.
They don't know what kind of TV you're playing it on, so. That's why they give you the instructions on how to match it. But I've never heard someone like go, I don't want to touch this. Yeah. It's usually either like you'll listen to them or no, I'm going to crank the brightness up because I want to be able to see everything.
Right. And I am playing on like a 64-inch 4K TV.
Brag about it.
So I work very hard for the things that I want. And that was in a lot of debt for that one. But it's paid off. I'm fine now. But yeah, it was... Interesting to see that. Now with the Halo 2 remastered, it's like glorious. Like it is just wonderful, the design they did on that one. So I'm loving that so far.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm excited for all of the remasters of that series. Like once they get to like remastering ODST, or something like that, because ODST had that like. The brightness kind of switch in the headset, where there was like the night vision effect, but also the like that would blow out and look ridiculous in the daylight scenes. But
do you think
you'd have to turn it on for going indoors and stuff like that?
Do you think we'll get remasters of ODST and like Halo 3? Do you think we'll need it?
Is it 343 that is doing the remasters, or is
That's
it
a great
Bungie?
Question. I don't know, because if it's Bungie, they would.
I would imagine they would want to remaster all of the ones that they did.
Because Halo, well, you know what? No, it actually might be 343 because the Halo remastered version incorporates the not John Locke. That's a character from Lost. The
Spartan Locke.
The Spartan Locke character at the very beginning. Like they incorporated a brand new scene where Locke is talking to the Arbiter, and the Arbiter is like, oh yeah, I once came across a man, Spartan 117 or whatever, and like this is the story that happens, because I guess it's like a prelude to him hunting down John. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's interesting how an entire franchise worth of stuff can change hands like that. Well, I mean, I guess with 343 and Bungie, it's not so much that it changed hands; it was like new hands grew, and took the whole thing.
Well, it said it's excuse me. Yeah, I mean 343 Industries are the publishers for the Halo 2 anniversary. It says Bungie obviously is the original. Excuse me. Blur Studio did the cinematics, and then Saber Interactive did the campaign.
I'm down to talk about Blur Studio cinematics for a second, because that sells me. Blur has sold me on so many games with their cinematics.
What else have they done?
Well, Blur Studios is what's his name? The director of Deadpool.
The original? Tim Miller?
Tim Miller.
Okay.
Guy who kind of came out of nowhere, and that was his first time directing.
Okay. That makes sense, because
he owns Blur Studios.
Wow.
And he made all those cinematics.
Interesting.
And so any of the cinematic trailers that you saw for BioShock 2 or BioShock Infinite were directed by him. It
says right here the opening title sequence for Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, really? Yeah. So
the best James Bond intro I've ever seen in a movie.
but a lot of these like really high quality digitally animated pieces, and
Arkham
that's why
City, Arkham Origins, Arkham Knight.
Yeah, and if you think back to those cinematic trailers, like those are all gorgeous
Fucking
trailers.
Amazing. Yeah, the thing that pisses me off about those trailers is that it's not gameplay.
Right.
They're always. I mean, you can take them for what they are, and they look amazing. But I want the day for a cinematic trailer to be truthful to what the game's going to be. But
well, that's one of the reasons that when Deadpool came out, it was that leaked animatic that ended up being like shot for shot what was in the movie. Mm-hmm. And I think Tim Miller and Blur Studios are the people to finally get a video game movie right. Like whenever they get the right property.
Who knows? Terminator might be good. We'll see. That's the next one Tim Miller's doing.
Oh, is that really the next on his list? See, I don't know movies. I'm following all the video games.
I only know because Cody sits next to me at work and he works on Movie Talk every day. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't know.
So, one of the other games that we're going to get some coverage of while we're here, of course, is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this one. I loved Spider-Man 2. I actually for the movie, I actually played the first Spider-Man game for Xbox. I think I played it on. That was based off Sam Raimi's first movie. That game's actually pretty good. I think it's not open world. It's kind of on rails.
Right.
I think you're literally swinging to the sky, like you're shooting a web.
Is that the one with like the opening like tutorial? Stan Lee is
well. I think he did. Yeah, I think he did all of it. Yeah, because I did. When I was younger, I played Enter Electro. That was like the big one for the original PlayStation. I played that one a lot.
Gotcha.
And I think Stan Lee also voiced for that one as well. And then I went back and retroactively, I did the first Spider-Man game that came out, where Venom and Carnage were like the main villains and shit. God, those were great games. But I also am looking forward to this one, not only because it's a brand new Spider-Man game and that it seems like they're going to be doing what they did with the Spider-Man 2 Sam Raimi video game, which was like the best Spider-Man game I've ever played. Keeping that open world, and the mechanics.
Yeah, they've gone back to the open world a couple times. Amazing Spider-Man had it. Web of Shadows, something. Yeah, I think that might have had it.
I didn't go anything past Spider-Man 3. I think
my favorite for sure though was Shattered Dimensions.
Is that with a different Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so not only was everyone a different like play style, but
that's interesting. I like
everyone was voiced differently too.
I like that. So it's kind of like the Into the Spider-Verse is what we're getting.
Yeah. So the way they did it is the guy who was voicing the main Spider-Man was Neil Patrick Harris, who had played Spider-Man on the MTV series.
Yeah.
The guy who was voicing Spider-Man Noir was the guy from the 90s series.
Greg Brady?
Sure.
He was Greg Brady.
Was he really?
I think so. Hold on.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
The guy from that was Amazing Spider-Man in the game
version
was
not Andrew Garfield, right?
Yes. Was the voice from Spectacular Spider-Man from that cartoon.
Yes.
And then the guy who was doing Spider-Man 2099, the one in the future, the one that's not Peter Parker, the one that sounded very different and sounded older, was the guy who was the voice in the original 1970s
holy shit
animated series. And so like there's huge lineage in that game.
That's really cool.
It's really
I'm shocked.
Interesting.
I'm shocked
idea.
They haven't like done that yet with like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
That's probably too expensive.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Tobey would be. I feel like Andrew would like do it. I heard.
We'll talk to Yuri about that later because Yuri Lowenthal, the voice of the new Spider-Man, is going to be chatting with us during Comic-Con.
Well, and the other thing that I am excited for are the tiny little tidbits of rumors that are going around that this is like a first in like a bigger cinematic universe for Marvel.
Yeah.
But for
they want to
be
folding in.
Yes. I think what better way to do that with a Spider-Man game too.
Yeah. I mean they've dabbled in it a little bit because they've done they have done Marvel Universe games before.
They did the
what was the like isometric top-down.
Yes,
kind of one.
It's like Marvel's of Ultimate Avengers or Agents,
something like
Agents
that.
Of
Yeah,
Avengers, shit like that. I know which one you're. Yeah, and that's where it's like all of Marvel. They like all the villains.
Marvel Alliance.
Marvel Alliance.
Yes,
that sounds Avengers.
Ultimate Alliance.
Ultimate Alliance. There
Alliance.
You go.
We got there eventually.
Hell yeah.
But then like the other property that's been really doing that kind of like crossover stuff really well.
Yeah.
Has been Lego. Because Lego
yeah.
has done, a Marvel Universe game, and they've done, they did Batman, and they've done the DC game, and now this time around they're coming out with Lego DC Villains.
Interesting. Okay.
So I mean, the bulk of which are going to be Batman
villains, yeah,
and like
the best villains in DC.
Obviously, I mean, I'm a fan of Batman villains.
Yeah.
Proof by my hat that none of the audience can see.
Yeah, he's wearing a Riddler hat.
I'm excited to see what they do and like what kind of mayhem you can get up to.
That'd be a lot of fun
in that game.
Yeah, that could be a lot of fun. Yeah, and I hope they do stick with it because I feel like there's a need for more superhero games because I felt like after the Arkham games sort of ended, there was like a void. Like what are they gonna do next? Because I remember even in those games they hint at Superman. I think in Arkham Knight, there's a LexCorp building in Gotham,
and I think there are some brief side mentions too of like no one else is around. I'm gonna have to do this on my own.
Yeah, right,
kind of thing.
Right. Mm-hmm. No, who else? Someone actually, I think Lex Luthor even has a voice cameo in it in like some kind of radio.
Yeah, like a voicemail or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. Yeah, yes, that's right. I think he calls Bruce. He's like Lex here, like nice little Easter egg. But like, I don't know if like Superman the game is like something that I could be on board with because like how do you do something like that? But I think a Spider-Man game is appropriate because, he is one person. He's in a city.
Yeah.
And let's say that this does. Okay, let's set this up. If Spider-Man does open it up to a Marvel video game universe, where do they go after Spider-Man?
Like who else could get a standalone game?
Because actually, you know what's funny? Did you ever play the Iron Man game for the 2008 Iron Man game?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
The worst thing on the planet, flying him around in like Afghanistan was pretty cool.
It almost felt like a cheap mech game,
right? But what was even better than that was the Incredible Hulk video game. That game was freaking dope. That was really cool.
Yeah, well, because it was a weird like mix of like a beat 'em up, but also a stealth game because you had to
like hide from the military. And
you
stuff.
were playing as Bruce Banner, and the whole goal of a mission was to not turn into the Hulk.
Right.
So you had to play stealth all of a sudden. So that's really cool. So I love when a game can have like multiple modes of play.
Yeah.
That still makes sense. Like not like Arkham Knight where you have like the tank levels. Ugh. And it's just like, okay, this is just getting repetitive as shit.
Yeah.
But as far as Marvel heroes that could have the next standalone game, I don't know. I still think a Captain America one could be fun.
But you said in the 1940s.
Yeah. A 1940s kind of like an old like Medal of Honor style. Game.
Yeah, make it stealthy. Him on one mission or something like that.
Yeah, and you just have essentially the powers that you've always had in a video game. They just make more sense now because you're Captain America.
Yeah. I would like that. Damn, that'd be good.
Because like you can't argue with the fact that you'd be a bullet sponge.
Right.
Because you're Captain America.
Captain America. Yeah, and it's also like if this isn't a bigger universe, almost like every famous Marvel character is set in New York City. And if there's like this grandiose thing happening with Spider-Man, then it's just like, okay, where was... It's the same thing we always ask with the Marvel movies, like where was so-and-so, where was so-and-so. And again, if you make them a lot smaller of a thing, then you can probably get away with that.
I feel like the idea of a universe within video games is... A, I think it's a lot more forgiving of the stuff like that, but B, I think it's never going to be as connected as the movies are.
No, yeah.
Because the game experiences are each so they're going to be so long, and you're going to want to involve the character then.
Ooh, what if? Hear me out. What if they pull like a Mass Effect here, where it's a big Marvel universe?
Yeah.
Everyone has a different ending, and the ending of this Spider-Man game ultimately determines who ends up being in your team for an Avengers game.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yo, Sony, hire me. What's up?
I don't think that's what's gonna happen.
No,
but
not at all.
I mean,
but you never know. You never know.
So I would be interested to do that kind of thing with like a Telltale.
Yeah, I mean, those games.
Actually, you know what would be really sick would be like a Telltale Civil War. And not the movie Civil War, the comic book Civil War, where you're choosing sides.
Children die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're going back and forth of like Peter Parker's going back and forth, like choosing which side to be on. Sue Storm is going back and forth of like, who she believes is right, and
her and Black Panther
stuff
doing
like
it.
that.
That's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah, that would be interesting because that would make more sense for decision making as well.
Yeah.
And do you have the Captain America death ending or do you have the Iron Man death ending?
Yeah. I mean,
Spoiler,
that could be that could be a very interesting Telltale game. There was a time when I would just devour whatever Telltale was putting out. It was after Walking Dead, and then all the way up until probably like Tales of the Borderlands.
Okay. Yeah. What was didn't they have like a wolf and
Wolf Among Us? Wolf Among Us is great.
Okay.
Wolf Among Us is amazing. You should play it.
Is that like
and
fairy tale type stuff?
Yeah. So basically, the concept it's based off of a comic called Fables, and the concept is that all the fairy tales that you've ever heard are true. Those creatures exist. They're pretty close to immortal, and now they just live in New York, in like a borough in New York, trying to like just lead normal lives. It's almost like American Gods in that way.
Okay, that's cool. That's interesting.
And you're playing as the big bad wolf, who is now the sheriff.
That's pretty cool.
And he like, there's part of him that's trying to like live down who he was, and like, sorry, I was an asshole before, but now I'm.
Is he like cool with the three pigs?
Not really. Kind of.
I can see like the three pigs.
There's one that's like crashing and trying to stay in his apartment because he's a talking pig, so it's hard to go out in New York.
Right.
But it's a lot of like him just like, I'm trying to be nice now. I'm trying to be reformed, but also I'm the sheriff and I'm gonna fucking kick your ass if you cross me. He doesn't need one.
That's fucking cool. That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to try that out. Yeah. But okay, so we can tail end the Spider-Man thing with this. If that is the case, let's say it is a big huge universe. Do they announce it here at Comic-Con to be something big to hype the game up and be like, "Hey, this is going to be part of a big universe. We have other plans, so buy this game," or do they keep it a surprise for when you actually play the game? Can they keep it a surprise?
I think they have to keep it a surprise for the game.
Yeah, right? Because I would be kind of disappointed to find out.
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. With the video game world, and this is the kind of the thing that I was getting at, is that having them tie into each other is nowhere near as big of a deal as it is with movies, because video games have kind of always been externally referential when it comes to like Marvel and stuff like that. Like if you played a Doctor Strange game, like if a new Doctor Strange game came out, throughout that entire game they would be referencing all the other heroes.
It's true. Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter if there's a game for that hero or not. And Spider-Man throughout Shattered Dimensions, throughout Web of Shadows, throughout the Amazing Spider-Man, they would reference the rest of the heroes. They would reference the Baxter Building. They would reference the Avengers Tower.
Like in the original Nintendo 64 and PS1 games, pretty sure like Captain America is like in the game.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like that has always happened.
Yeah.
So them making a universe out of this within each game, it's like nothing's going to change, and all that's going to change is that things kind of stay consistent.
Yeah. It's true.
But that's also so hard with games because the development process is so long.
Right. You're not going to be getting like how we get 3 Marvel movies a year. We're not going to get 3 Marvel video games a year.
And things change in video games so much. Like this is one of the things that we were talking about with Resident Evil 2, with the remake, of how Matt Mercer is not doing the voice.
Yeah.
And
damn shame.
I mean, he's commented on it, and he said it's almost like a rite of passage now, because he is not the first person to play.
No, but like
Leon.
that's where I wish there was a little bit of consistency with that stuff, because he was so prominent in 6, right?
Yeah.
His first time was in 6.
Yes.
Yeah, he didn't do it for
prominent.
4, right?
No.
Right.
He was in 6.
And then the same thing was for Roger Craig Smith, who did it in 5. And he also did it in Revelations, I think, and in 6 as well. You know, like those are like the ones that because that's when they were like, oh, their characters are fleshing out even more so than they were in the beginning. So.
And then it doesn't stay consistent because, like they even did facial capture for Matt in 6.
Yeah.
But Leon looks different in 2, so they're not going to do the facial capture.
He's younger.
And so, the point is, it just, like, that kind of stuff gets changed on a development side without too many people batting an eyelash at it.
Yeah, that's true.
Now, if they had changed something that has been the same actor from the beginning, like with Last of Us.
Okay, yeah. They changed the voice?
No, they haven't.
Okay,
that's the thing.
okay,
like
okay.
With like Ellie has always been Ashley Johnson, and if that changed, I think you would hear about it a lot more than
it'd be like Snake, David Hayter, and Kiefer Sutherland coming in and taking over.
Right.
Or I'm blanking on his name. Sam Fisher.
Oh yes. I know what you mean.
Who's the actor? That's gonna kill me. He's in Starship Troopers.
I'm so tired from driving and setting up for Comic-Con. Like,
can't even think.
My brain is not in the place to think of names. I'm bad at names, just in general.
In general, yeah. What's your name again?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Who are we? What are we doing
here? Yeah.
It's
late.
Yeah, but I am excited to see other things on the floor. Spyro has a presence here.
That'd be cool. That actually got me excited. I played Spyro for a very, very brief time. Is that coming for Switch? Or is it just PlayStation?
No, there is a Switch version. Yes, there is a Switch version.
Because I've been thinking about getting a Switch.
The more you say that, the less I'm sure, but I believe there is a Switch version.
Google it right now.
So Activision is bringing Spyro here. They're also bringing Call of Duty Black Ops 4. They're going to talk more about zombies.
Tidbit that I learned over yesterday, not over the weekend. One of my favorite bands of all time, Avenged Sevenfold.
Sure.
Been a big fan of them for a very long time. And they've done, because the lead singer and I think a couple other guys in the band are huge Call of Duty fans. They've done songs for like every Call of Duty since like Black Ops.
Oh, interesting.
They did one for the Zombies game called Not Ready to Die. It's a dope-ass song. It's a really, really good song. Then they did another song for Call of Duty Black Ops called Carry On. And I found out, just yesterday, that they have a new song that's supposed to come out sometime this month for the new Call of Duty game. So
nice.
That's exciting.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean,
freaking roll.
I'm excited because the new the zombies part of Call of Duty Black Ops 4 has a through line story between all.
That's cool too. I mean, Avenged Sevenfold's a little bit cooler, but that's cool as well. You might hear the song play in one of those levels, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Just walk up to a jukebox in Avenged Sevenfold and start playing.
Yeah. But I shot your guys' trailer reaction. It sounded cool.
They've always had narrative. They've always had like story threads.
Yeah.
And this is really like building a story that crosses all the experiences, plus any of the expansions that come out as well, and even like putting them in a chronological order, possibly. This feels like someone trying to do Left 4 Dead.
Yeah,
which I get that that's to a certain extent that's a little bit of sacrilege to try and make Left 4 Dead, because Left 4 Dead is amazing, but at the same time, like, isn't that what we want people trying to do?
Yeah,
is like trying to match what was such a good experience.
So yeah, that's crazy to think of how far the zombies thing has come, because I played it when it first came out. It came out first for what? Was it Black Ops?
No, was it World at War?
World at War. It was World at War. Yeah. And I picked that game up because I came into the Call of Duty game. Well, I first played the Big Red 1, Call of Duty 2.
Big Red 1. Yeah.
The World War II version. And then I dabbled into Modern Warfare 1 and 2. Sure. I didn't play 3. And then World at War, I was like, oh, this looks cool. And then I heard about the zombie function or gameplay, and I loved it. I loved the simplicity of it. I loved shacking up in one tiny place and going as many rounds as you can and trying to beat, like, records upon your own records. And then it got to the point where, like, you play the president, and then there's the zapper gun and this and that, and then I got a headache from it. But the way you kind of pitch it to me, because I do like over the top things, I very much enjoy that. That sounds really cool. And can you still? Is it still just 4 people that you can play online together?
There are 4 story characters, so I'm assuming that all the play modes are limited to 4 people.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
You still board up the wall, the door.
It seems like it's more open spaces. Like, one is the Titanic, one is cool. Like a Roman Colosseum. You've been teleported back in time to ancient Rome, but you still have guns. Yeah, no, it's gonna be pretty interesting. I don't think the experience is going to be on the Switch, so if you want something that's going to sell you on the Switch, this may not be that.
Well, let's be honest. The Pokemon game's selling me on the Switch.
But, yeah, okay, that's fair. But one that I want to check out that just came out, it's been on Steam for a little while, and it just got released for the Switch, is it's called Burnstar.
Oh, yeah.
And so Frank has been playing a little bit of this, and nice. I'm jealous because I want to play some of it. But it's like a top-down, almost like Bomberman style puzzle game.
Interesting.
It's like a 2-person multiplayer too.
Oh, okay.
So I think you're either solving puzzles together in like a Portal 2 kind of way.
Okay.
Or you're solving puzzles against each other. So funner. I haven't had a chance to play around with it too much. I know Frank has. Hopefully Frank and Cody are enjoying it at the office while we're here working at Comic-Con.
Jerks. They don't listen to this show. I don't think so.
No, I mean, hey, shout out to Frank and Cody for finally listening to an
Frank
episode
will never
of
be
Collider
back
Games.
On this podcast.
Yeah. No.
but maybe he'll be listening to it.
I mean, if we record one of his voicemails, then probably he'll come back on the podcast.
I don't think anybody else will get that reference either.
That's probably a good point to end then, I think.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for indulging our ramblings on Collider Games once again. We're going to head down to the Comic-Con floor and do some work.
Yeah.
And make sure that we cover movies and TV, but also video games for you guys. Mm-hmm. And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Joy Rasool, RASSOOL. It's me on Twitter and Instagram.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at Copster15. And if you want, patreon.com/wangers. That's where I do other stuff.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Take care.